Burks on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. Lieutenant Dylan and NWA.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run the Marin County podcast about basketball in the Marin County. I am Duffy Ballard, and with me is David Levine, Coach David Levine, coming off of a win yesterday in the BCL playoffs over the Marin Academy. Dave, how are you today? We're in your kitchen, by the way, and we're having some chilled coffee.
Chilled, not iced. And you called me David, which makes me think I'm in trouble, Dustin. But
Well,
no, I'm
Correlation, chilled coffee, not iced coffee. Dave versus David.
we're just mixing it up. I'm doing great. We're going to get to the playoffs, but very proud of your team and their playoff efforts. But we'll get there. But first, Duff, you wanted to mention something. We have an early player control.
We're going player control really early in this game.
Okay, an early foul.
A very early foul. Hopefully this doesn't turn into 4 fouls in the first half situation. But yes, thank you to the Marin Independent Journal and to our friend Derek Wilson. Does a really good job. They had, I would say, an excellent profile of our podcasting effort, Dave.
Yes.
And we want to thank them for correcting what I described as a couple of factual hiccups that may have occurred in the print edition, or probably did occur in the print edition,
Yeah.
and now have been corrected online.
Yes.
And so, first of all, I have never met Mike Saya's father.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. In the article, which by the way was a great article on us, we got a bunch of messages saying that people like the article that Derek wrote about us, but he mentioned that Duffy played for Mike Saya and Mike Saya's father 40 years ago. That should have said Mike Fulton.
Correct. Yeah. So that's been corrected.
That's been corrected.
And I believe Mike Saya texted us and said something about spitting his coffee against the wall.
Yeah, no, but no, it was funny.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, easy mistake to fix. And then quick correction, because my friends at Kaiser Permanente wanted to make sure that people out there are aware that I do work for Kaiser Permanente, not Marin Health Medical Center. Although Marin Health Medical Center is a wonderful place, and we do a lot of collaborative work with them and their leadership.
Good clarification.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, appreciate Derek writing that about us, and appreciate everything that the IJ does for keeping people informed on Marin sports. They do a fantastic job.
Absolutely. And in part because they do such a good job, we're not going to have to do a really in-depth update with regards to the MCAL playoffs. Today is Friday, February 9th, and the final of the boys varsity is tonight at Redwood, and the final of the girls is tomorrow at Terra Linda,
the new gym. Yep. So tonight, Branson plays Redwood, and yet again, I don't know how many times they've faced each other in the MCAL championship game.
Third, maybe?
Yeah. Well, wasn't Archie in the championship game a couple years ago?
That was the Will year. So
right. Well,
that would have been 4 years ago.
Yeah. So Branson beat Marin Catholic in the semifinal pretty handily, and then Redwood beat Archie in an unbelievable game that I was at, that Duffy was on the sidelines for. Just an incredible game. So Branson Redwood tonight will be a lot of fun, and then tomorrow night on the girls' side, Redwood faces Marin Catholic. MC beat Branson, and Redwood beat San Marin in the semifinals. So congratulations to all the teams made the finals.
Yep. Just a little announcement, plea to the Redwood student body, or any student body, and that is, if your team gives up a 24-point lead in the second half and barely squeaks out a win, and perhaps in some part due to a very questionable late game call, maybe don't storm the court afterwards. Maybe don't storm the court and heckle.
Public service announcements.
Yes. Is that too political, Dave?
That's okay, Duff. I'm going to let you do it. I will say a quick plug for the Bay Counties League. On the boys' side, University beat San Domenico in the semifinals. Urban upset Stuart Hall in the other semifinals. So University boys play Urban for the title on Saturday at Kezar Pavilion. On the girls' side, my San Domenico team beat Marin Academy yesterday. University beat Lick. So once again, it'll be San Domenico versus University on the girls' side in a rematch of last year's title game at Kezar on Saturday. And then after these playoffs are done, we get into North Coast section, which will be fun.
Yeah, and more to come on NCF
Yes.
very soon.
Yes.
I want to mention, before we go on to our next segment, that there was a meeting last night of NCAL coaches. And so they are going to be choosing their player of the year and the first team, second team, third team. So we'll hopefully know that fairly soon. And they're also going to be talking about tweaks to the schedule, if any, for next year. So this has been an area that a topic that has been brought up again and again. Do you go back to the round robin? Do you go back to a hybrid round robin?
Right.
Or you maybe play some games in December and maybe play 12 league games? Do you allow all the teams to get a shot at the playoffs? You have 6, so hopefully my hope is that there'll be some more inclusion that allows for more home games in league and more inclusion into the playoffs next year.
I'll be interested to see the outcome of that meeting. And I will say, Fulton and I were at the same meeting for the Bay Counties League this week, where we selected player of the year and all league teams for both the boys and the girls. And so we will announce that when it's official. But that was fun.
You know the results.
I know it, but I can't tell you.
I think I know too.
Could tell you, but then I have to kill you, Duff. Okay, moving on. What's next?
We are going to
JV.
Man, I kind of would like to do sponsors now, but let's do the JV
No.
first. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think we haven't talked a lot about the lower levels of play at the high school level, but these are boys and girls that are putting a lot of effort. They play, in most cases, the same number of games as the varsity, the vast majority of cases, but they don't have a postseason. So the JV and freshman teams just wrapped up their seasons last week. And so we did some outreach, and we had some outreach to us and got some recaps of some of the top teams here in Marin. And special thanks to Tessa White, who is the mom of Harry White, who played for the Redwood JV, and I'm pretty sure he will be playing varsity next year. I think he's on the sideline in khakis.
Yeah, so Harry was the only freshman to get pulled up to JV on that team, and they had a great season. The Redwood boys were able to win the league under their coach Khalil Murphy. They went 14-4, very good season. And yeah, a number of those boys on that team, 6 of them, are now on the sidelines for the varsity playoffs. They're in street clothes, but right behind the bench and kind of practicing with the team and involved in the postseason.
Including, and player control here, I'm reading Tessa's note, it's not Harry White, it's Harrington White.
Right.
That's a great name.
Just like I'm Dave and David.
The Redwood Frosh team on the boys' side, they had really good year, a lot of talent on that team, players that you and I have coached before the high school level, including Eddie Poser. And that team ended up, I believe, going 24-1.
Yes.
Dave, and the only loss we talked about on this podcast back in December.
Yes.
So that was my son Holden and his freshman team coming back from a huge deficit to beat them in the Santa Rosa tournament final in overtime. But
Nice.
They a very strong team, a lot of depth, really disruptive on defense and get out and run. Bunch of guys who can shoot the ball. So they have a pretty good future in the pipeline at Redwood.
And then real quick on the girls side, there was no girls freshman league. Redwood and Tam, I think, were the only teams that had freshman teams. The Redwood girls had a fantastic season under Caden Korst. Girls side, we have a quick clip from our friend Tony Butler, who is the San Marin varsity girls coach, celebrating the success of the San Marin JV girls squad, which went 23-2, 8-0 in league, and won the league. So here's Tony.
Take it away, Tony.
Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Tony Butler here over at San Marin High School on the girls' side, calling to check in before playoff basketball. Just calling to reach out and give my JV squad some love. The girls went 23-2, 8-0 in league, and brought home the JV banner this year. So we're super proud of them, and they deserve some credit for just plowing through everybody in front of them, led by a couple freshmen, Avery Bishop and Eliana Schramm, and a couple returning players, Caitlin Burke, Olivia Maffei, and Sophie Dempsey, all contributed. But with such a small roster of only 9 for the back end of the season, we got contributions from all of them on a nightly basis. So super proud of them and can't wait to see what they do going forward. A special thanks to my coaches, Billy Reed, and Lincoln Green for their dedication and commitment to the program around the calendar. Just so lucky to have them as well. And that's it for now. Looking forward to some playoff at NCS basketball. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. That's about it for now. See you in the gym.
All right. Thank you, Tony. And also thank you to the gentleman with the leaf blower outside. All right. So, Dave, let's talk sponsors.
Love it.
Okay. We have some re-ups on the layup, and these sponsors get a nice little mention. Would you like to mention these sponsors for us?
I'd be thrilled. Karen Horsemeyer Real Estate. Thank you, Karen, for all of your support and your fabulous episode as well. Go back and listen to that one. So Karen Horsemeyer Real Estate, really appreciate you. And if you're buying or selling a home, call Karen.
And then the Nike camps at San Domenico, Jeff Skaggs. I was going through the hub intersection and saw on a bus stop that there's a big flyer up there,
Yep.
big poster recruiting nice job, Jeff, and the staff for San Domenico summer camps and Medium.
Where anyone can read, write, and find an audience. Listeners of the Run TMC podcast who have never subscribed to Medium will receive 25% off their first year of Medium membership by going to medium.com/discount and entering the discount code, all caps, RUN TMC, no space.
That is a run, RUNTMC, not a runt MC.
Runt Mick,
Okay,
Heather Sager.
thank you. And let's focus on our menu item of the day from the hub. Usually, Dave, I will get a burger when I go to the hub,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say maybe 20% of the time, I'm going to look after my body with a superfood salad. You want to know what's in a superfood salad?
Looking at your body, I would love to know how that happens.
Kale. Number one, kale. Baby spinach, edamame, beets.
Nice.
Love me some beets. And it's not too many, but like a little, spattering of beets in a salad.
Sure.
Roasted sweet potatoes, avocado. I'm not a huge avocado in a salad guy, Dave, so I usually put that on the side.
Oh,
I'd give it to my wife.
I got a bone to pick with you on that one, but go ahead. Keep going.
Sweet walnuts,
Ooh.
the dried cranberries. I love cranberries in salad. I love them in bran muffins too, but that's a different topic. Crispy quinoa and couscous. And that is all dressed in a basil lemon vinaigrette. And I usually add some protein. I'm not adding the vegan patty.
Okay.
It's not really my thing, but I will usually add crispy chicken or maybe the chicken breast.
Okay.
One of those two.
I have an issue with your avocado stance. I also don't know if I love the cranberry stance, but let's agree to disagree.
There are other options for you, and you can custom the salad however you would like, Dave, at the hub.
I love the hub.
The hub in San Anselmo.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Hub.
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to make one mention of a thing that happened in my CYO practice this week, Duff, if I may.
Mention granted.
Thank
Motion to mention has been granted.
Thank you, Dustin. So I'm coaching my daughter Addie's 6B St. Sebastian girls team, and we're learning the game. And one thing that I've been doing in practice with my fellow coaches is 4-on-4 scrimmaging with no dribbles, because our girls tend to catch the ball and the first thing they do is put their head down and dribble. And that drives me nuts. So we started doing scrimmage with no dribbles. So they have to pass. If they get stuck, they can use a coach as a safety valve. And the girls complained and, moaned about how annoying it was. I will say our last game we lost, but we were in it and our passing had never been better. And so after doing this scrimmage with no dribbles thing for a couple weeks, it's starting to work. And I was saying to Duff, you and I were playing pickup with Tom Poser and a few others last weekend. And I was saying to Tom that this drill works. And Tom said, drills work. So that was a deep thought from Tom Poser, but just a plug to the coaches out there that if you're struggling with having your kids over dribble, try to have them scrimmage without dribbling. And it works. They figure it out.
Yeah, we've done a lot of this, especially in the half court 3-on-3
Yeah.
with a coach as an outlet. And I think it does make a difference. Now, you have to repeat it, because I have found that it does help and it makes a difference. But there's a regression to the previous, ball-centric play.
Absolutely.
Can occur within an hour or maybe a day or maybe a week, but it usually does recur unless you keep on emphasizing. And this leads me to my quote that I was going to include in the last episode, but it's perfect now, Dave, and it is called the playmaker's advantage. Focus on the ball. You're thinking small. Focus on space. You'll own the place. And that's obviously when you're not able to dribble, you got to focus on how to get open and reading space. We've talked about this before. The skill in your interaction with space. And the best players really do dominate space, like a guy like LeBron or a guy like Curry. They dominate it in different ways, but they dominate space.
Great quote. Love that one. Excellent. Well, Duff, should we get on to introduce our guest?
We could, but first, Dave, we said we were going to talk NCS.
Oh,
we are going to do a sort of quick. It wasn't so quick in what our friend Ethan Castle, who's great, really detailed mind and a lot of detailed information. He said it's a 9-minute clip with an overview of the open division on the boys' side and where we currently stand here on Friday, February 9th, and the 6 teams that are likely to make it, with a bit of a bubble there. And we're going to play a clip from his contribution.
Great.
Which remains to be clipped by me.
Okay.
At some point in the near future. But also, just to summarize, it looks like Branson is pretty much locked into a 3 seed. Maybe if they lose tonight, that could drop them. And then University is likely to be number 6. But if they were to lose, then that can be in question. And so anyway, we will know soon that those 6, we talked about this before, they're picked based on their max prep ranking.
Right. And we'll provide more in-depth NCS seeding information for all the divisions next week, because those seedings come out this weekend on Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep, Sunday. Exactly.
Hello once again, this is Ethan Castle of Bay Preps Insider, checking in, talking with you guys at Coach Duffy's request about the NCS Open Division. So for those of you unfamiliar, it is a 6-team field with the 1 and 2 seeds each getting byes. All games hosted by the higher seed except for the championship game, which will presumably be at St. Mary's. I think at this point, Friday, February 9th, we know who 5 of the 6 teams will be for sure. And the 6th, we have a pretty good idea of the candidates. So I think you can split this into a couple of categories. There's a clear top 2 or 3 between Salesian, De La Salle, and Branson. I think it would be hard for anyone other than Salesian or De La Salle to be the 1 and 2 seeds. Even if De La Salle was to lose to San Ramon Valley in the EBAL championship game, I think the overall body of work would have to get De La Salle into that 2 seed. As of now, I think Branson's the 3, although if SRV wins on Saturday, they could jump Branson. Branson still has to win that MCAL tournament championship Friday night at Redwood. That should be a lot of fun as well. So I would think as of now, SRV's the 4. Again, if they were to win at De La Salle Saturday, maybe they move up to the 3. I think that's your next tier. SRV and Granada, teams that are safely in. And then comes the 6th seed, and there are a couple of candidates. Bishop O'Dowd was talked about, but after they lost to Berkeley last Friday, those talks seem to have faded away. So I think the last spot really comes down to University and Clayton Valley. University, super experienced, senior-heavy team. Maybe the least intimidating team you'll ever see when they walk into the gym. Only a couple of guys that are over 6'3", nobody who's, like chiseled or anything, but they press you like crazy. They rotate in 13 guys. They can all shoot. They move lightning quick. And they are a problem for pretty much anyone. I mean, you look at who they've lost to all year. You look at the fact that they have a win over Reardon. They've been a very impressive team and will either be at the top of D3 or could get that last open seed, which I think leaves it to Clayton Valley, who has a really interesting resume and has been a hard team to figure out all year. Now, they are 21-7 with losses to Branson, Sheldon, Crespi, Bellarmine,
Capital Christian, and then a couple of league losses to Ignacio Valley by 27 and College Park. But the Capital Christian, Ignacio, and College Park losses came without their two best players. I don't think those are things that the seating committee is supposed to really take into account, but they play at Ignacio Saturday night for the DAL Tournament Championship, and if they win that, I think they have a pretty compelling argument. So stay on your toes. I'm really looking forward to brackets coming out this weekend, not just for the Open Division, but all the way from D1 down through D6. Hope to see you in person come playoff time, and if you're looking for my coverage, don't forget bayprepsinsider.substack.com.
Okay, we're now on to our guest, Kerri husbands, Barrett maiden name, star at Novato, and then at Cal, and now currently down in San Clemente, where she lives with her husband, Julian, and their two kids, Julian. Great guy, medical school classmate of mine. He joins us at the very end of this interview. He and I played a lot of rec league ball together when we were in medical school and then living in Philadelphia. So great family, friends of mine, and now friends of yours, Dave. And Kerri just has a great perspective as a coach, player, parent, and also someone who spent quite a bit of time working and instructing on strength and conditioning. We don't get into it a lot in the interview. We'll talk a little bit about it on the outro, but her daughter, Kylie, is a really good player, freshman there at San Clemente High, and is already getting Division I offers.
Yeah, I think it's important for that context. We mentioned Kylie a few times, and Kerri talks about her, as does Julian, but we didn't point out that Kylie is, as a freshman, already getting D1 offers and, is going to be playing on national TV in a couple years. So legit. This was a great interview. I've known of Kerri Barrett my whole life. I'd never met her before, but she's just one of the short list of names that you hear about as kind of the legendary women's basketball players from Marin. So awesome to talk to her.
Agreed.
All right, let's go to the interview and we'll talk after.
All right. We are live and we have a fabulous guest, Kerri husbands, maiden name Kerri Barrett. Thank you for joining us, Kerri.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So Kerri came to us through Duffy and Kerri, our old pals, and Kerri's a name that we had not met before. I'm very excited to meet you, but I've heard of you forever because you're a legend in Marin, one of the best basketball players to ever come out of the county, and also a fantastic basketball coach and a current coach. So we're gonna go through Kerri's amazing career. So I'll give her background so that our listeners get up to speed. So Novato High School, 1992 graduate.
Correct. Yeah. Go Hornets.
Go Hornets. Absolutely. We had Michelle Bravelli Smith on. She's the athletic director there now, Kerri.
Yep.
We're going to talk about you and Michelle battling it out later. She then went to University of California at Berkeley. Duffy, we call that Cal.
Oh, really? Which conference are they in?
Cal too.
Yeah. What conference is Cal in now? I don't even know.
Yeah, I know.
We'll sing a requiem for the Pac-10 later. She's a graduate of Cal in 1996, so she started as a recruited walk-on and then earned herself a scholarship, much like our prior guest Alex Pribble. First of all, at Novato, she was a 4-year varsity soccer and basketball star. They won multiple league titles on the soccer side. She was a 4-time all-league selection, and then in basketball, league champions in 89 and 90, CIF runner-up in 89, CIF champs in 1990. 3-time all-league selection, league co-MVP in 1992 with Duffy, Michelle Bravelli.
Bravelli. I love her.
Michelle Bravelli. At Cal, Kerri earned herself a scholarship, as I said, and then was a 3-year starter. She was a team captain her senior year. She was 3 times Pac-10 all-academic team. And then in 1996, Kerri won the Anna Espenshade Award. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Awarded to the female athlete who best represented Cal athletics both on and off the court. That is an awesome honor.
Yeah, it was one of my proudest awards I've ever won, for sure.
That is super cool. So following her playing days at Cal, she then went into coaching, right? And coached at Cal as an assistant for a bit, and then became an assistant strength and conditioning coach as she received her master's in exercise physiology, and then had a long career as a strength and conditioning coach at Cal and then at UCLA. and for the last 10 years has been coaching high school basketball down in Southern California at San Clemente High School.
You got it.
Yeah.
Wrapped it all up. Yep.
Kerri, I'm a professional podcaster.
Yeah. You guys do a great job.
So really excited to have you. A great experience. And like some of the other guests we've had, Kerri has experience both as a fantastic player at the Division I level, as a coach, and she herself and her husband have some kids who are also talented athletes. And we're going to talk about that. She's actually coaching her daughter right now on her high school team. So we'll get into that. But Kerri, I thought we could start with I love to learn about the process and kind of progress of great players and how you started out. So I assume you grew up in Novato. Is that right?
Yep. Born in San Francisco and raised in Novato, and yeah, great place to grow up.
When did you first start playing hoops?
I was trying to remember. I don't exactly remember when. I think it was through Novato Parks and Rec. And I can't remember if it was like third grade or second grade. I played soccer before that. I played soccer from a young age, AYSO. And at that time, when I first started, there were no girls' leagues. So I played with the boys, which was great. And I did that for a couple years. And at some point, I was always tall. And I don't know, my parents were phenomenal sports parents. Like they just threw me into whatever and just let me go. And I think I started at Novato Park and Rec. And from there, I got picked up on a CYO St. Anthony's team.
Oh,
so
the evil empire, Kerri.
Yeah, I was St. Anthony's.
Of course you were. So were you battling Michelle Bravelli even during CYO?
Yes. Yeah. I think they were St. Rita's, right? Is that?
I think she was St. Sylvester's.
St. Sylvester's. Yeah, I can't remember. I remember all those girls, the Santa Fe. It was pretty much the whole Santa Fe team when I was, coming up. So
when you played CYO, were you really good? Like even in 6th, 7th, 8th grade?
Yeah, I had a great youth experience. I think I got picked up on a club soccer team, and it was basically, I was playing a little bit up, a couple years up, and it was basically the same basketball. We played soccer and basketball together. So it was the Vandentorn sisters, if you know Annie and TV Vandentorn, Melissa Perkins, Cindy Fife, Amanda Montgomery. I mean, essentially the entire basketball team was also my soccer team. So we were playing, at that time, we would play club soccer in the fall and the spring, and we would play basketball in the winter and the summer. And we would just bounce back and forth. And I was the youngest of the group, so I was able to play up. And then depending, when they all started going to high school, I had some other great players that I was playing with that were my age level. But it was a lot of fun. And I think spoke to our success when we did get into high school, because we'd all grown up playing not just basketball, but playing soccer together too. So we had a lot of really good chemistry.
And one of the recurring themes that we touch on in these interviews is the value of playing multiple sports. And, when I was growing up, I remember I was always encouraged to just really focus, right? And you got to play all year round if you want to be really good in a sport. And I get that, but it's interesting to hear you talk about, here you were a fantastic sport athlete.
Big multi-sport believer. I think you play as many sports as you can for as long as you can. Plenty of time, especially at a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, play everything. Don't specialize early. If you're good, you're going to be good. And I think I think I was a much better basketball player because of soccer.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, yeah, for sure.
Question from Duffy: does tennis count as a sport, or we're putting that over to the side?
Wow. Late in life, yes. So yes, it does. But I didn't start playing that until I'm an adult up here. So now I do play a lot of tennis. Yes, pickleball.
Duffy, that was hurtful.
The question is pickleball. The answer is no.
Okay, all right. We just got that out of the way.
Okay.
Well, so basically, we just eliminated our entire listener base because everybody in the world plays pickleball.
Well, I'm just a little salty because our local club, they just gave away a couple more tennis courts to pickleball. So, it's hard to get on the courts.
My wife is a tennis fiend, and we like pickleball too, but she's bemoaning the fact that pickleball is taking over the inventory of tennis courts.
Yeah.
Kerri, did you play pickup growing up? Pickup basketball?
There wasn't, for me, there wasn't a lot of pickup opportunity. I was, when I've been listening to your podcast and I'm hearing about all these runs, I think I was fortunate. I had a couple things that went my way. One is my dad installed a basket in our driveway. So I spent hours upon hours just shooting in the driveway. It was my fun. It was my release.
Yeah.
I developed a fantastic baseline jumper because it was on this hill. So I had to make that shot. Otherwise I'd have to chase the ball down to a neighbor's house and crawl under bushes and stuff like that. So I actually made it a game. Like I had to hit that shot to challenge myself so I couldn't run down the hill.
It's true pressure shooting. Right?
It was. So, but that was just me in the driveway for hours upon hours. I was really fortunate that Larry Perkins, Melissa Perkins' father, took me on at a very young age. He coached us at St. Anthony's, and he was instrumental to me at a young age, like teaching me fundamentals. And he was the guy that he was just an absolute gym rat and kind of instilled that in me always. So I was shooting in his driveway all the time too. And then he was also the one, like in the summer, he'd just swing by and pick me up and we would drive, he'd take Melissa and I down to literally like Drake JV boys summer league games. And we would sit in the stands the entire time. I wasn't there so much because I wanted to watch Drake JV boys when I was that age. It was more because I wanted to actually shoot in a real gym. And I couldn't wait till halftime so I could run out there. I was the one that shot at every halftime, at every game. And my parents were so supportive. They would take us. I don't know. Does the MCAL still play? The boys and the girls are stacked at night. So
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which
girls play first, then boys.
We don't do that here. And I really wish we did. I think it's such a great atmosphere. But I would show up. My mom would pack a cooler of sandwiches and take me into the game. And I'd be for whatever JV, varsity, and then the boys varsity game. I'd be at all of them, no matter where they were. And again, I just couldn't wait to get out and shoot at halftime. Like that was my jam. So
you were that kid.
That was me.
It's interesting. So I coach at San Domenico. We're in the Bay Counties League. The way we do it is the boys play at one gym and the girls play at the opposite gym. So like last night we played University. The boys played San Domenico. Boys played University at San Domenico. We played at University. And they do that because they want the varsity coaches want to watch their JV teams play before them.
Okay.
I personally think the way that MCAL does it is so much more fun.
Yeah, I agree.
The boys and girls varsities play back to back. Go ahead, Duffy.
I agree and disagree, Dave, because I have now, for every game, I have to travel to the away site to watch Holden's Frosh team play and then hustle to get back to the other site for the varsity. And then I miss some of the girls' game because I'm late. So I don't know.
To quote our last guest, Jonas Honeck,
it's not about me.
You.
Okay. All right. Move on.
Yeah.
Let's get going here.
Here we play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and the boys play Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They cram our league into like a 4-week period. It's really unfortunate. And
so back to every week you're playing back-to-back league games.
I've had 4 games in 6 days this last week. And today we're not practicing. We're going to do 2-hour film session, which won't be very fun.
Just 2 hours.
Their bodies need a break. So I told them, wear your sweats to practice today and be cozy because we're going to get into some deep dive into film today. So
your own film or other teams or both?
Today is our own film. So today is our own film.
Okay. We've talked a lot about film in this, as you know, Kerri. All right. My last question for you on the pre-high school Kerri Barrett. Did you play against boys ever? I know you said in soccer you did sometimes, but did you ever play hoops against boys?
Soccer when I was young? Yeah, I think I got more into playing pickup with the guys at the high school when I was in high school. Okay. And then when I got to college, oh my gosh, that was amazing. The RSF, which is the rec facility at Cal. Sure. Then I played with men every day and that was fantastic. But I just didn't have that, in Novato. I kind of lived a little bit further out from, there just wasn't a lot of pickup opportunity for me. I think if I had found it, I would have embraced it, but that came later.
Okay, let's talk about playing for Novato. I actually recently was introduced to Ron Wheatley. I'd never met him before. I've heard of him. Fulton and I hung out with him. Great guy, spoke
Great. Yeah.
glowingly of you. You played for him. He's one of the winningest coaches in girls MCAL history. He's won everything you could imagine. Talk about playing for Ron.
He's great. I actually just talked to him yesterday for like an hour. I needed to pick his brain about some stuff. And he is very detailed, very organized, disciplined, instilled a lot of that into us with the teams. We played fast and disciplined. And together that's quite a good combo. Yeah, quite a good combo. And I have to say, a great X's and O coach, but really drilled the fundamentals with us. And he used to bring me into the gym. He actually had me playing when I think I was in 6th grade in the summer with some of his teams. So another thing that he did early, he used to do a 3-on-3 night in the summer. So I guess that is kind of like pickup ball.
Sure. Yeah.
And he would invite the top teams in the area to come into the gym. And the team that we ended up facing in the NorCal finals, CIF finals, both in 89 and 90, he would call those teams up in the off season and say, come into our gym and play 3-on-3 in the summer. Awesome. So you would walk in. It was not a friendly atmosphere. It was like a playoff intense atmosphere, playing 3-on-3 in the middle of July in a hot gym. So he really just wanted us to learn how to move without the ball and get that chemistry with each other. So he was fantastic. And another thing that he was really well ahead of his time in was the whole mental toughness training. He made us do a class with him where we went and sat in a classroom an hour a day for about a week. It was like a boot camp. We would practice and then go sit and do mental training. And the stuff he did is, now it's like so common, but at the time he was so ahead of his day and having us do that, your attitude is your control, and how do you respond to things, what's your power, goal setting, all of these things. He instilled that into us at that young age, and that had a tremendous impact on me, not just as an athlete but just for life. Yeah.
Did he have you visualize? Was that part of it?
We did a lot of stuff like that. So he was definitely ahead of his time and pushing that stuff.
His team was it 1986? They were 35-0 state championship team.
Yep.
Yeah. And were you part of that team?
I was not part of that team, but I was sitting on the bench during the game because he knew the next generation coming up, and he strung us along. I think we sat right behind the bench because I don't think we legally could sit on the bench, but we sat literally in the seats right behind that team as they won the state title.
But Kerri was shooting at halftime. For sure.
I wasn't allowed. It was at the Arco Arena back in the day, and they wouldn't let us on at halftime.
That's a tragedy, Kerri.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're playing for Ron. You make a dumb play. You make a mistake. Are you getting pulled, or are you getting an earful?
Not getting pulled. No, he's holding you accountable, but you're not getting pulled. He would give you the freedom to make those mistakes. But you knew you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all right.
I love that. Fast and disciplined. That's really cool. We were talking to Tyler Gaffney, which one of my favorite interviews of the ones that we've done, and he was talking about he loves watching Swarthmore College, a small Division III school.
Yeah,
and he basically said the same thing, that they play really fast, but they play really fundamental.
Yeah,
and that's a tough balance to strike as a coach.
It took a lot of practice. We had long practices for sure. Long practices.
I want to get to your practices in a second, but so I'm curious. So the MCAL at your time, you guys were really good. I assume you were battling with Santa Fe a lot, and that great team. Who else were the good teams in the MCAL in your years?
So my first 2 years, so my freshman and sophomore year, our biggest competition was Drake. We knew Santa Fe was the up and coming team.
Right.
But Drake and Redwood was actually pretty good. The MCAL was very deep, deep. A lot of great players, a lot of great teams, great coaches. And then my junior and senior year, Santa Fe was the team. So it kind of shifted. It shifted. Yeah. So, and it was my sophomore year was our best team. That was with the Vandertorns and Perk and, Cindy Fife, who just was a total floor general out there for us, and Stephanie Halcrow. I mean, it was a great team. It was a great team.
So, Kerri, how tall were you in high school?
6 feet.
Okay, so what did you play?
My freshman and sophomore year, I played the 5. My junior year, I came out and played the 3. And then my senior year, I had to go back in the post.
Okay. So what was your, where would you score from? Were you kind of mid-range?
I was
post out?
definitely a rebounder, like hard on the glass. It's funny. I've been listening to some of your other podcasts, and I was like, oh yeah, the jump hook. It seems to
Brooke
be very
Smith.
effective. Definitely mid range. My 3 ball came later.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Around
Talk about discuss your recruiting journey. So you're getting some, like your teams are good. You were all league, all that stuff. Did you get recruited?
I was a tweener because I was 6 feet tall, and I mean, my junior year, so Ron put me out at the 3 because he said, if you want to play next level, you're going to be out here. And that was a great year for me and really expanded my game. He retired, he left. So I had a different coach my senior year, and he came to me and said, I need you to go back inside because just how we were built. And I was happy to do it. And I did bring the ball up a lot too, as the 5, which was fine. I think from a recruiting standpoint, club basketball really just was starting around that time. I also I got invited at that time to Blue Star camps. So I went to those every summer, and those were, you'd stay overnight and all you did was just play. All you did was play, and the crowd was just all college coaches. So
Right.
That was where I was getting noticed, I think. And then in between my junior and senior year, I did go and play club basketball, and that with Blue Stars, where I think I got a lot of recognition or, got seen. And then I started then I got all the interest. Heavily recruited out of the Ivy League because I had good grades. So I could play out there. And I thought that's where I was going to go, honestly.
Okay.
I thought that was where I was going to go. Did a lot of looks at schools in California. But I think because I was that tweener and, am I a 3? Am I a 4? Am I a 5? I wasn't big enough to be a center. My outside game hadn't really, when you watch me play, I wasn't showcasing, being a wing. I was getting in the paint and, having my way in there. So
yeah.
I think there were a lot of questions about me. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but hopefully it's okay to ask this now. Now, your own experience of being a tweener when you were looking at college, how has that impacted what you've done with Kylie and her development?
My daughter?
Yeah.
We put the ball in her hands when she was 7 and said, you're a point guard.
I figured that might be the case.
She's been the guard. So yeah.
So even if she's 6'8", she's going to be a point guard.
Well, no, she'll go in. What happened with her is from really young, she was very comfortable handling the ball. And then we put her on a boys club team, and she was a head taller than all the boys at that age. So then they put her in the center. And that actually was great for her because she got really tough down on the block and learned how to rebound and learned how to use her body. So it was a good combination. And now that she's back with girls, she's playing right now she's playing like a 1, 2, 3, but I can swing her into the 4 if needed. So just depends.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to
positionless basketball.
Yeah. That's what you're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Kerri, you're getting interest from Ivy's, other schools. How do you make the decision to go walk on at Cal?
I ended up taking a recruiting trip to Cal, and I at first was like, it's right, it's 45 minutes from my house. I always had envisioned college as like you go away somewhere. And I think I had that picture in my mind. When I'd been over to Berkeley, I'd only really seen Telegraph Avenue. So I also had that picture in my mind. And they were really smart. They brought in a recruiting group for a weekend, and it happened to be the 1991 UW versus Cal Pac-10 football game weekend. And they were both it was going to decide who wins the Pac-10 that year. Cal actually had a really good football team that year.
Wait a minute. Cal had a good football team?
Cal had a really good football team that year.
Just kidding.
Yeah. And Russell White, he was like rushing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Great
Like
running back.
yards a game and,
Yeah.
all kind of stuff. So the entire campus was so energized. It was unbelievable. And then the game was incredible. I got to go to practices, hang out with the team. It was so fun. And I thought like every weekend was like that at Cal. So I'm like, this is where I want to go to school. And, such a great academic institution. And when it kind of came down to making that decision at the end, I did decide at the last minute, I went, it is important to me to look up in the stands and see my parents at games. I didn't think that was something that I was going to factor in, but I did. And I had an opportunity to go there and I thought, yeah, you know what? And they said to me, you're a tweener. We don't have a scholarship for you. We don't know. And I don't know if it was arrogance or stupidity or, lack of experience, but I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'm going to go in there and I'll get my scholarship. I had no worries. So,
I love it.
I don't know.
Awesome.
How much of a factor was style of play and coach? So was it Marianne Stanley? Was she there?
No, that was Gooch Foster.
Okay.
Gooch Foster.
Yeah.
I had a coach, Denise Curry, who played at UCLA. She was an All-American at UCLA. She's an Olympian, phenomenal basketball player. And she was the assistant coach at Cal. And she saw a lot of how her game was. She was the one that really believed in me. And still to this day, like she's fantastic. So
awesome.
She was the one that kind of, I think, nudged me into the program and went to bat for me.
Very cool. Very cool. And so you get there, you walk on campus, you start playing hoops. How do you stack up as a freshman against that team?
That team was really talented. We did beat Stanford that year. I think that was one of your questions.
We don't need to talk about that anymore.
We went to the NC2A tournament. At that time, the field was only 32. And we went out and beat Kansas at Kansas. And then we went to Villanova, who was at the time ranked number 1 in the nation. And we took them down to the wire, but we lost that game. We had an All-American point guard, Milica Vukadinovic from Yugoslavia, who was phenomenal. And the game was just, I think at every level, the game's just faster, bigger. And so initially, that was an adjustment, but I just, kept working hard and they recruited me to play the 3. So that's where I was playing. I actually ended up starting. We had an injury and I ended up starting 2 games up at Oregon and Oregon State as a walk-on.
Wow.
So my goal that year was there were 16 players on the team and only 12 could travel on away games. And my goal was I was going to make every single travel team. And that was how I was met. That was my goal for that season. And then what ended up happening is we had another international player that ended up not returning the next year. And she played the 4 and there was a hole in that position. And so I ended up as the power forward, as an undersized power forward for the next 3 years. But they adapted their system to fit like more of a 4 out. I was the trailer, I was the blue collar worker. I was the,
Gotcha.
Go guard that really good player and run up and down the court. And that was a big part of my game too, was I learned that because I was undersized in the post, I had to really work to be in the best possible shape I could get in and I would sprint as hard as I could up and down the floor because I figured 6'5" can't guard if she can't catch me. And if nothing else, I'm going to make her tired. And it would work, but then, they'd sub her out and I'd look and there's another 6'5" coming in, especially Stanford and Oregon. I was like, oh my God, where are all these size? All this size coming from? I'd be like, yes, finally she's going out. And then there's another one coming in and I'm like, oh my God. But I think that also really launched me into, strength and conditioning and understanding like how important my fitness and taking care of my body was how it impacted my game and leveled the playing field for me at that level. So
go Duff.
Oh, I just want to clarify, Dave, that this victory of Cal over Stanford in what I believe was the Mountain West Conference, it occurred before your arrival on campus at the farm. Is that correct?
Thank you for that that's critical. And we all know that Tara setting the record, that I had a huge part of that.
Amazing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Kerri, it's funny you talk about that. One of the things that I did, which was a sign of a future as a podcaster, but when I was the practice player for the Stanford women's team, I loved going to the post-game press conferences.
Oh yeah.
So the game would end, we go back in the locker room, we'd have a quick talk, and then Tara and two of the players would go to the press conference, and I would always just kind of tag along and stand in the back because I just loved listening. And I remember there was one opposing coach, might have been like Montana State or like a preseason game, and he basically was saying what you're saying. He's like, we thought we were fine. And then Olympia Scott gets in foul trouble and goes out. And then they bring in Naomi Mulatalo-Pele, who's awesome. He's like, basically like, what the F? What do we have to do?
Yeah,
like they just have
a
constant stream of 6'4" talented girls coming in.
Literally the two that stuck out during my time, it was Stanford and Oregon, where I'm like, oh my God, another 6'6" girl.
Yeah. And that's kind of how teams feel in the MCAL playing against the Branson boys right now. It's like,
oh, really?
They just keep throwing really talented, athletic players at you. It's like, enough.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So now you're no longer a walk-on, Kerri. You get a scholarship.
I got it.
And so just discuss the rest of your experience playing at Cal. And you were a starter for 3 years. You were team captain.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, was Gooch Foster your coach the whole time?
Gooch was there the entire time, and then she retired my senior year, and I actually got asked to be on the hiring committee to help hire the new coach, and that was Marianne Stanley. So I was the student representative. They thought I was a good bridge for that since I was close to the team, but did not have any eligibility left. So, but yeah, playing at Cal was phenomenal. I couldn't ask for a better. I wish we'd won more games. We were a good team, but in a fantastic conference at that time. USC was unbelievable with Lisa Leslie, UW, Arizona, Ada Barnes, Stanford, always cream of the crop. UCLA was unreal with Natalie Williams. I mean, it was just every game was intense. So it was a great time for, at that time, Pac-10 basketball. So,
and even today, it's a shame because I think the best top to bottom conference in women's college basketball right now is the Pac-12.
I would absolutely agree. I've watched a lot of games this season, and it's amazing.
It's amazing, and it just sucks that conference is going away, and there's going to be the diaspora of these teams.
I'm really sad about it.
But listeners, watch women's college basketball right now. It's always been great. It's really great right now. And particularly the Pac-12. Colorado is awesome. Utah is awesome. USC is amazing. UCLA is great. Stanford's great. Sharman's doing a great job at Cal. Washington has talent. Oregon State's really good. Like, there are a bunch of really good schools and really fun basketball to watch.
It's the best time, I think, to be a part of women's athletics and women's basketball. We've come so far. There's still a lot of work to be done, but it is right now the most exciting that I think it's ever been. I mean, I'm getting calls from people asking me, do you have a link can we get UCLA women's basketball tickets? Cause the games are sold out and we can't get tickets, and I'm going, sorry, it's sold out.
Yeah, exactly. So let's jump to your post-playing career. And I want to specifically hone in on your being a strength and conditioning coach. So I don't know if all of our younger players listening to this know that colleges have strength and conditioning coaches who are specifically tailored to make their players stronger, better in shape. It's a holistic approach, right? So discuss that role and how you liked it.
Yeah, Cal was so good to me and continues to be so good to me. So I was really fortunate when Marianne was hired. I was finishing up my degree, and I was a gym rat, and I just was in the habit of, just constantly stopping by the office. What, do you need any help today? What do you need? And I ended up taking my last final and went down to the gym because that's just how I am. And she's like, you just finished your last final, right? And I said, yeah. She goes, so you're officially graduated? I said, yeah. She goes, go to HR. There's paperwork waiting for you to sign. I'm bringing you on as a coach. I'm like, okay. So I went and literally signed, and I was a coach as of, December, whatever day. And So I spent the rest of that season coaching. Marianne was unbelievable from an X and O standpoint. I've never seen anybody like her. And I learned so much from just, I mean, she was just incredible. And she really took me under her wing. And so at the end of that season, she sat me down and she said, I think you could be a really good coach. Do you want to do this? Because I can get you in with some different coaching staffs. And I think you need to expand and move on from Cal. And at that point, I wanted to stick close to home. And at the same time, I'd already been very involved in exercise physiology, and there was a turnover happening with the football team at that time. And so they were bringing in a whole new football staff and strength and conditioning staff. And the trainers had already talked to me and said, we think you should consider joining that staff as a strength and conditioning coach. I ended up meeting with the guy who got hired for the football strength and conditioning coach. We hit it off. He offered me a role and I became the graduate strength coach. So they paid for me to go get my master's degree. And because of my ties with women's basketball, obviously, you very rarely have a, green first year graduate strength and conditioning coach running women's basketball. It's usually somebody pretty high up. But because of my background and relationship with the team, they stuck me with basketball. And so, didn't stick me. I was able to stick with basketball. I was really, really fortunate. So I ended up still being a part of Marianne's staff, but with a different role. And basically strength and conditioning is athletic development. So my office was in the weight room. And I also had water polo, softball, golf, tennis. I mean, I helped with football. We had 6 a.m. spring trainings. I was the lowest on the totem pole at that time. So I was the one that had to show up at 5 a.m. and open up the locker room and get all the equipment out on the field for a 6 a.m. workout. And then I was going to school at night. So my learning curve for 2 years was just unbelievable in terms of just really developing that athletic development side, but then still being able to be dialed in with basketball too and be a part of that program. So it was a great 2 years as a graduate assistant. And when I finished my degree, they hired me as a full-time assistant. So it was a lot of fun. It was challenging, but it was great.
Kerri, can you talk a little bit about your difference in approach with strength and conditioning when you're working with men versus women, or say football versus water polo? Like, how does that work in terms of what you focus on, and maybe speak to what might be unique with basketball?
I think it's not so much in terms of athletic development, it's more sports specificity and sitting down. And what I really enjoyed was learning the different sports. And I would sit down with the coaches and I'd watch a lot of their practices. I watch a lot of their games, what kind of talk with the trainers. We were under the sports medicine umbrella. What are the common injuries that we see, like a water polo player versus a soccer player, right? It's going to be different injuries that you're going to see. So where can we help to build up that athlete to prevent the injury? Where can we help to put them in the best position to be successful on the field or pool or court? Like with baseball, you're going to train a catcher a lot differently than you're going to train a pitcher. And, are you a speed player? Are you a power player? So I think from an athletic development standpoint, it was more sport to sport. In terms of coaching men versus women, I used to think when I was an athlete, I just was like, there's no real difference between coaching men and women. But then as a coach and being a part of that, there was absolutely a huge difference. And what I learned was that men are happy to win and women have to be happy to win. So with the women's programs, it was more about developing that relationship and that trust. With guys, I think I could just tell them, this is going to get you better. And they just respond. They could compartmentalize a little bit differently. So I was really fortunate to be a part of a lot of national championship teams. Like I have a lot of national championship rings. I've got one men's water polo, softball, different ones like that. And after Cal, carrying on my career at UCLA, and that just opened up the door for a whole nother level of coaching excellence with mentorship, working with Jill Ellis, who ended up as the national coach for women's soccer. I worked with her for 5 years. Adam Krikorian with both men and women's water polo, and he's the Olympic coach for the women's team. And just getting to be around that level of excellence and learning from them as well. It was, I always try to learn. Every day I'm trying to learn from the people I work with and coaches and athletes I'm exposed to.
So there's been a big focus in the last couple of years, particular on sleep and the importance of sleep, nutrition, obviously. Back when you were starting as a strength and conditioning coach and through your years at UCLA, did you incorporate sleep, nutrition into your training regimen, or was it more focused just on kind of weightlifting and cardio and that stuff?
I think you try to approach it from a whole athlete standpoint. And I think even now, so more so now than back when I first started, I think there's a lot more put on the mental training side as well.
Yeah.
And again, I've been fortunate with my connections, like at UCLA. Corey Close at UCLA does so much with the mental training side and has been.
She's the women's coach at UCLA.
Women's basketball coach. And she's been like, she sent me their whole packet and here's what we were doing. And especially during COVID, UCLA was reading a book called It Takes What It Takes. And it was all about mental training. And so my team, we read it alongside the UCLA women's team, and she sent us our whole entire discussion packet because we were doing Zoom calls then, it was really difficult. But yeah, I think there's a much bigger approach these days to the whole athlete and looking at all those components, more so than when I first started. But yeah, we had UCLA had a full-time nutritionist on staff that really helped. I think everybody does now, but back when I was doing that. So I went down to UCLA in 2002. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were, just to close the loop on your Cal experience. So Karen Horsemeyer was a basketball coach while you were a strength and conditioning coach.
Yes. So I was there, Marianne, and then Karen came in. Karen was phenomenal. And Kirsten McKnight was on the staff too. Yeah. So, and Marin, great.
She'll be on the podcast. I was just texting with her.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. So I think I mentioned to you earlier, she's the only player that I played against every level. So CYO, high school, college, and then we finally got to work together. And and I see her out on the club circuit and stuff like that. And we still communicate. So it's been great. Yeah. So Karen was fantastic. And then I got an offer to go down to UCLA and be the associate head. So that was really hard to leave Cal, but I made that decision. Sure. It was the right time in my life to do that for, not just career decisions, but personal decisions too. So that ended up being a really great move for me.
So 10 years now, you've been at San Clemente High School. So you go from super successful player, awesome college level coach, and now you're coaching at the high school level. Describe your coaching style.
Oh my gosh. I think I try to pull in from Stone. I've been fortunate being in athletic development and working with so many great coaches over the years, and also coaches that maybe weren't so great. You learn from everybody. I think I've tried to pull in a lot of the positives in the way of doing things that I learned from these amazing coaches that I was exposed to through strength and conditioning. And I think I try to be the kind of coach that I would have wanted to play for. So somebody that's going to hold me accountable, but definitely really foster relationships more so, put that first, and kind of teach life values through the game of basketball. I know that sounds cliche, but really it's about, I want my athletes to have a full high school experience and to come out on the other side, like, having really been happy, part of a positive culture at the school and in the program, leaving it all out there on the floor, but, being really proud of who they are as an individual, as well as, as a player. So.
Awesome. I'd play for you. Go ahead, Duff.
Yeah, no, totally agree. It's actually my father said to me not that long ago, he said, I don't know if he borrowed this quote or not. He said, good coaches make better players, great coaches make better people, right? And that's kind of why we're doing it, right? And however we can.
Yeah, that's the hope. And I think, coaching at a public school too, San Clemente is such a unique town. We're sort of a peninsula because we're buffered up, bump up against the military base and then the ocean. So the kids that grow up here there's only one public high school in town. So there's, over 3,000 kids at this one school, and they've grown up. You should see our football games on Friday nights. It's unbelievable. We closed down homecoming. They closed down downtown. There's a parade. Every single team marches in the parade and has a float. It really, our motto is one town, one team.
Yeah.
And it really is that way. And it's a unique community feel here. So I've been really fortunate that a lot of my great athletes stay home and play at the public school as opposed to getting recruited to all the local privates. And it's just a really special place. And I think it's because we do focus on the character and the hometown feel and that, it's a really unique town and a lot of fun.
So I know it's been a while since you've been around Northern California hoops, but my observation and coaching a Northern California team, playing in a Southern California tournament, playing against Southern California teams, is Southern California hoops is a little bit better than Northern California hoops. I don't know if that's fair to say.
Okay, you said that, not me.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your take on the quality of play that you're seeing in your?
I think Southern California, I think across the board, I have, my son plays baseball. My daughter played soccer also. I mean, my son played basketball for a while. We're in this like youth sports on steroids environment. Huge population here. Quality, the coaching, the access, the trainers, the facilities. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's almost too much because I think we could have a whole nother discussion on, youth programs and club basketball and how that might be turning too much into a business and destroying, the game a little bit. But on the flip side, like the quality of basketball, the talent level is just unbelievable. So yeah, it's pretty. I mean, you look at the football, you have the top number 1 and number 2 in the nation, 15 minutes from each other at the high school level.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You look at women's basketball, we've got really some high level quality teams all within, driving distance of each other right here. So
I will say, Kerri,
yeah,
the number 1 women's team in the country.
I know.
Is a Northern California
It
team.
is, and they're phenomenal. Sue Phillips. Yeah.
Sue Phillips, amazing coach, one of my favorite people to listen to and learn from. So the kids that you're coaching now, your high schoolers, are they working with skills trainers?
Yes.
So that seems to be table stakes now for kids, right? We've talked a lot about it up here. We have some great skills trainers in the county. I assume you have excellent access to coaches down there.
Yeah.
How do they do it? Do they work individually? Do you have them go as a team and work with skills trainers? What's your approach there?
Both. So some of them, I'll bring in skills trainers to some of my sessions, and just I think it's nice to expose them to different voices, different ways of doing it. I get tired of hearing my voice, so I definitely know my players get tired of hearing my voice. So I think it's refreshing to every now and then bring in a skills trainer to come in. So we've got a couple guys in the area that we use. I'm also fortunate that we've got some local players, some alumni that played at high levels that are still in town and, have young kids on their own and want to come in and help and can still get up and down the court. So I've got like some phenomenal players that come in and volunteer their time to work with some of my girls. So I've been really fortunate with that. And some of them do, and then they'll set up their own trainings as well.
Yeah. We were just talking about this with Hornet, and it reminded me of, Duffy's high school time too. Like when I was at Branson, Saturday mornings, Hornet would bring in a bunch of alums. Mm-hmm. Again, I thought they were old guys. They were 25, 27, whatever. And we just play pickup on Saturdays and they would just beat us up. And it was kind of miserable, but also pretty great. And Duff, I remember, Mike Fulton would play against you in practice, right? At MA. And
Mike and Chris Fulton and Doug DeVore. Yeah, these were pretty good. They would take us to the woodshed. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I
was
have
good.
One of my assistant coaches, Erin Alexander, played in the WNBA, and she laces him up and goes against my guards, and couldn't ask for a more phenomenal assistant coach. She's so skilled and knowledgeable and amazing. And she played at UC Santa Barbara, as retired, Hall of Fame at UCSB, and played in the WNBA. And She's a paramedic firefighter here. And so she's phenomenal. But she'll come in and lace them up and let's go, girls. So couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Amazing.
Love that.
Go ahead, Duff.
It's not on the script, Dave, but I would like to ask Kerri, before we bring in her husband, Julian, I'd like to ask Kerri if she has a favorite drill that she runs with her team. There can be more than one.
It's in the crunch time script, Duffy.
Oh, it's not a crunch time question because we have to have some back and forth on it. Sorry.
I have a couple favorite drills. So, and my players, I love drills that have a little bit of a competitiveness to it. So 11-man break is amazing. And
What's that?
Describe that one.
Oh my gosh, it's a hustle drill. So it's just a constant 3-on-2. And there's one shot that's taken, and whoever made or missed, whoever gets the rebound, whether it goes through the net or it comes off, if you get your own, you're turning and you're going back down the other way 3-on-2. And so you're rewarded by, hustling and you get to stay on the court. And I always put like a point value system to it, and lately I've been giving 2 points for an assist, which is everything else is like a deflection or a rebound or a hustle or shot or a make is just worth 1. And so it's actually becoming comical because now they're just overpassing everything because they want the 2 points, but it's great. So if they hook somebody up and she misses it, like the whole, oh my God, it's really competitive. And that one's been a lot of fun.
You run that as 2 teams? So you have like 2 teams that are like continuous? Individual. Okay. Individual points. All right. Got it.
So you need at least 11 players to run it, but it's a constant 3-on-2. So it's just up and down, and there's no out of bounds. So sometimes that can get a little dicey when the ball's over, way in the corner and they're diving for it because, you want to stay on the court.
Right.
So that's a super fun drill. And the other one I love, we got it from Corey Closeup at UCLA. So we call it UCLA rebounding. And that one's a team drill. And it starts with, you go for like whatever amount of time, 4 minutes. So, you divide up into, red and black teams, and you've got to make one pass to the wing and then a skip pass. And it's an uncontested 3 from the opposite side. And you've got on the baseline is the defense coming out, and there's only 2 of them. So it's a 3-on-2, but you give up an uncontested 3 and the other 2 are rebounding.
Got to box out.
Yeah. If they hit the 3, they get 2 points, and you just keep it going on the scoreboard and the drill resets. If they miss, it's live. If offense gets the ball, they keep playing it out. They get 1 point for a putback. And if defense catches it, they just put the ball on the ground and get back in line, and the drill resets. So it gets really competitive. So you go 4 minutes, one team completely on offense, one team completely on defense. And then the other team gets to defend and they get 4 minutes, and it gets really, really competitive. And it's one of my team's favorite drills.
Is there a point value to a defensive rebound?
Nope. You only score when you're on offense. Okay. So, but you need to get those rebounds. And then you kind of know when you step out, like how many points you need to get to win. And they limit the damage. Defending. I mean, it gets really physical. So,
and will you rotate people on offense and defense sort of each possession so that you have like 4? Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I have 14 on my team right now. So we go 7-on-7, but there's only, there's a line at the top, but
line at the baseline. Yeah.
Defense will catch the ball, and instead of, giving it back up to the top, they'll like throw it in the corner because, they don't want black to get the ball again. Yeah. It gets a little chippy. So you have to kind of manage the girls.
Right. The shooter, Kerri, the shooter can crash and rebound. So it's a 3-on-2 rebounding. Okay.
Yes. So, but the shooter is uncontested. So the 2 are coming out, picking up the
other 2. Yeah. Gotcha. That's awesome. I'm gonna use this one.
Yeah, we learned that.
We need to box out better. So that's
learned it's a really great team, and we learned it at UCLA team camp. So that's why we call it UCLA rebound.
So do you guys do a lot of shooting in practice? A lot of skill work?
At the beginning of the year, we will have 2-hour practices, and like 30 to 45 minutes is devoted to skill and shooting. Now that we're so heavy into games, we practices are more gearing and prepping for the next game. So I'll open up the gym at other times for those that want to come in and get more shots up, but we try to incorporate that every day. but I'll do a lot more of it in the preseason versus now. So
Yep.
a little bit
got it.
shorter practices. I like to be a little more focused and respectful of their time too.
Gotcha. Okay, Duff, you want to bring in Julian?
Should we bring in Julian?
Do we
Yeah.
want to bring him in? I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna do a quick intro. So yeah, Julian and Kerri have been friends of mine and Angela's for quite some time. We haven't seen them recently enough as we should. So great to see you both, even though it's virtual. And yeah, you're looking good. Julian's got his Run TMC t-shirt on. And so yeah, Julian Husbands, he and I were in med school together at Penn. I believe we met maybe playing pickup at the Hutchinson gym, the Hutch at first. He's also a Cal grad.
Maybe Gimbal, one of the two.
It might have been Gimbal, yeah. And good athlete, great athlete in his own right. Excellent tennis player. So I'm glad we established that tennis is a sport.
It is.
And
She only had one good answer for that one.
And he and I played in rec leagues in Philly all the way through med school, played some really high level competition. Julian, I'm going to say that you are the best post passer I've ever played with in many years of playing in rec leagues, but you're one of the more average free throw shooters I've ever played with.
I'll take it.
Shots fired.
So maybe we'll just start with you guys. You have two kids who are both excellent athletes. JMO, more of a baseball player, and then you got Kylie. How do you guys handle, maybe Julian first and then Kerri, like how do you split up, sort of the parent coaching fan, deal? Because it's a lot, especially if you're dealing with kids that are getting recruited to the next level.
Well, so I think early on when the kids were playing two sports a lot of the time, and I would be maybe coaching JMO's baseball or Kylie's basketball, and Kerri would be either coaching club or other things. Like we would have to split up things based upon who could make what. And early on, our rule was they have to play two sports. Kerri in her talk emphasized the importance of multi-sport athletes, and that's something that we did at home until they wanted to make their own decision. So JMO played basketball as a freshman and then decided to focus on baseball as a sophomore. And then Kylie decided to focus on basketball as an 8th grade or something.
Yeah.
So we have different sets of kind of dynamics with both of them. Our son is tall and a kind of more of a late bloomer, but he's got a tremendous ceiling depending upon how much he wants to work and how strength and these kind of things come along. With Kylie, she was more advanced as a basketball player and a soccer player like earlier. So we dealing with different kind of dynamics. And the fact that we both coach and we see parents and we go to games and see, like when you're a coach and you see parents doing crazy stuff, like you don't want to be that person, and as a coach, like you don't want that parent in the stands to make the team look bad. So I think in a sense, like we're very quiet at games and because we know like the different dimensions that other people don't, because they don't have kids at the same level, nor have they coached, nor do they understand like how silly they look depending on certain things they do. So our kids know that we're there, but we try to more fit in the background rather than, I'm not going to, if my kids do something like bad, I'll like be like, ew,
That's his favorite.
Yeah. Like if Kylie misses a layup bad or JMO, gets thrown out by a mile, I'll make it clear, but I'm never going to say like, shoot it or the types of things that you hear from parents that you wish you did.
Julian,
what about if a ref makes... Oh, go ahead, Dave. Please go ahead, Dave. No, I don't want to dominate that.
I'm just curious, Julian, how you handle kind of post-game drive home. You're a coach as well as a dad, right? And so, JMO, you're coming home after a game. Are you coaching him, or are you just being supportive, saying, "I love you, you play great"?
So I was fortunate enough to have a fantastic sports parent. My mom was like kind of not as much because she didn't play a lot, but my dad like always would say the right things. So I try to just have the discussion and then let him or Kylie kind of talk about like what they thought in the game, and then kind of engage them based on how they want to communicate. So if either of the kids had a bad game, like I don't need to tell them that.
they know, right? So if they want to understand like what can I do better or those type of things, I try to just let them drive the discussion. And now with Kylie on Kerri's team, and we're in the car sometimes after games, it's a different level. It's a different dynamic as well, because we would have different types of discussions when Kylie wasn't on the team. And now that she is, we have different discussions because they have to, be appropriate. So, but it's great. Like sports is so central to our home, but we understand that it's a vehicle for life. The kids are going to play until they don't play, right? And as long as they can get as much out of it as they can from a life lesson perspective, like that's the goal. And then and we just see other families where undue pressure is exerted on kids, and like we don't want to do that either. So because we see things from multiple dimensions, I think we just try to be the type of parent that we would want. Kerri was talking about trying to be the type of coach that she would want to have. I think similarly for sports, sports parenting, we try to do the same.
Awesome. Go ahead, Duff.
I was going to ask, what about if you're not as a coach, but as a parent, and you're in a game and the officials are just awful, and they make a call, say against Kylie, that a traveling call, and can you restrain yourself? Because sometimes I can't in that situation. But just wondering, how do you approach that?
I can, because I used to be an official. I used to be a basketball ref and a softball umpire. So I kind of understand that too, and as a basketball ref, I always thought the hardest call was like out of bounds underneath the basket. Like as a player, you always know, but as a ref, like it's not always clear. And I also see other parents that do it a lot more, that look like idiots. So occasionally I might utter something, but it's, we have more bad refs than good refs in general. So I don't want to be that parent. So I do restrain myself because I see other parents, and then I also understand what it's like as ref, and like you're not going to make every call, and some of the more egregious ones you're like, come on, man, or woman, but and for any kid, like, and that's another thing I try to do. I try to be balanced. Like I will yell out positives to all the kids. And because I also think that's important when certain parents just kind of yell at their own kids or provide kind of support. I think that's not optimal either. It's their choice, that it's my opinion. It's not fact, but I try to, and especially now, like I'm the guy who does the huddle recording.
He films.
Yeah,
so that's.
So you got to be careful.
I'm the
what you say.
video.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I have to be more reserved in my commentary than I would otherwise be.
I have to constantly remind him, everybody can hear this
forever. So if someone does something just so like clueless, like I have to just keep it in, which is hard.
What about you, Kerri? If you're a fan, and which probably doesn't happen anymore, but maybe at AAU tournament, whatever, can you restrain yourself with bad officiating?
Yes.
You're both stronger than I am.
Through gritted teeth.
Yeah.
No,
So Kerri, and in the stands of an AAU game, are you quiet? Not talking about the ref, just talking about Kylie. She's playing.
Yes, I try to be. I try to just be positive and encouraging, and I don't say a ton. And then after the game, I just always just say, I just love you competed out there and love watching you play. Super proud of you. And if she wants feedback, she asks for it. Every now and then there's a few times where I'm like, I want so badly to tell her something, and I'll say, do you want to have can I make like one or two coaching comments? And sometimes she'll say yes, and sometimes she'll say no, and I just have to respect it. Okay. And I'm not going to say anything, and just be quiet. Just be the parent.
You guys play one-on-one, either of you with Kylie?
I haven't lately. No, I don't play as much anymore, Duff.
That's all downside to me, probably. I could use my body.
Now, Jameson and Kylie play one-on-one. Yeah. The kids play one-on-one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Very cool. Duff, you got anything else for our friend Julian?
Let's see. What do you admire about Kerri's game? And talk a little bit, because I know you guys, we played a little bit of half court ball together back in the day. How much do you guys play hoops together, and what do you admire about each other's games? Why don't we go there?
We didn't play we didn't play one-on-one a lot.
No.
Like we did play together, which was fun.
Played a lot at UCLA together. That was
Yeah.
those were some great run. We had lunchtime basketball at UCLA.
The LBA.
The LBA.
All the coaches.
I got more work done at LBA because I would see all my coaches there than I would during the day. It was the unbelievable runs at Pauley at lunchtime basketball there. And Julian would come in and be the special guest star, a lot.
Well,
So
I mean,
that
there are legendary runs at Pauley. I don't know if you guys were in the same, Magic Johnson's rolling down there, but they're always like
those games.
Yeah, that was a different part of the campus.
I figure
I'll tell you, when the football coaches would come on, that was Bieniemy and those guys. That was
nice
runs. Yeah, there were some really good runs.
Don't post Eric Bieniemy up. He'll crush you.
No, that dude's thighs are like tree trunks.
Good runs, but they liked
Almost
it when Julian would show up and play because they, there was another big post guy to go against. That was a lot of fun. I would stay on the outside. My outside game definitely developed a lot better, from the lunchtime basketball league.
Kerri, you're a KG veteran now. That's what happens. Go ahead, Dave.
So if you're playing together in those games on the same team, who's going to shoot more over the course of 3 to 4 games?
She will.
Yeah. And who's going to make more?
Duffy, I'm sure you've seen, the patented Julian, baseline head fake, drop step, spin move. Like,
There might
Dave,
be grunt involved.
Yeah. There's one that would work a lot. So
Hey, that's one more move than I have, Julian. So that's good. Awesome. Well, should we move on to crunch time?
Yeah, do crunch time. Maybe we can do them together. Although Julian, maybe some of the questions are not going to be relevant. But let's jump into crunch time.
Okay, Kerri, toughest player you ever played against in Marin?
In Marin, well, Bravelli for sure was super tough. And the one, she was ahead of me, but I got to play with her a little bit. She actually coached me for a year, was Melissa King. So
Amazing
she coached me
player.
1 year at Cal, but she was unbelievable.
So Karen talked about her at Santa Clara, that she turned around the Santa Clara basketball program and the Santa Clara soccer program.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
She was special.
Good.
So she joined the Cal staff 1 year that I was there. I can't remember what year, but
Yeah.
that was fun to have that Marin connection.
And for Julian, toughest player you played against at Cal when you were there?
Toughest player I played against at Cal. I would probably say Lamond Murray.
Murray.
Yeah.
Amazing
He was
scorer.
so smooth and so long, and every once in a while, like I'd get to play with the guys on the varsity team, and he just like I thought he was going to just be transcendent with his ability to shoot and defend.
He's smooth.
Yeah, he was really, really smooth.
He was a great scorer. So were you there at the same time Kid was there?
Yeah.
Jason and I were freshmen together.
Oh, cool. He could play a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah. Heard him.
Okay, same question for both of you. Kerri, we'll start with you. Toughest player you ever played against overall? Don't say Duffy.
Okay. I think Natalie Williams down at UCLA. She was All-American basketball, All-American volleyball, could do anything, and probably also one of the nicest players I ever played against, like competitive, but then classy. So she's one that sticks out. Her daughter right now, oh my goodness, so good. Nation Williams, remember that name. Class of 20.
Okay. Awesome. Julian, is Lamar
Kerri
the answer again?
Kerri Husbands.
Oh, great answer.
Oh, right. They're going to
We're
remain
moving on.
friends.
We're not
Yeah.
touching that one. That's a great answer.
Such a smart man.
But actually, there's another guy named James Spears, who was like all state in football and basketball at this reform school called Glen Mills in Philadelphia, and he wound up going to Temple to play football, I think. And I was never more scared in my life because it's a reform school.
Is that the guy
So-
who wanted to fight you?
No, that was somebody else. But I was just like, it was. I'd never been so afraid on a basketball court. And then a guy came in for him after who played on my high school team, who was the best player, and I couldn't stand covering him because he had elbows and he was really good, played at Textile, like amazing player. And then when Randy came in, I was like, woohoo! You don't have to cover Spears anymore. Yeah, so that was good.
That's great. All right, Kerri, favorite gym in Marin? Bringing you back.
Well, obviously Novato, but second to that, I loved Redwood because we always had the playoffs there.
Yeah.
I always played well there. I liked it. It was a good environment.
How about your favorite gym anywhere that you've ever played in?
I really liked UW. I don't know why.
Heck Edmondson? Heck Ed?
Yeah, I think it just had a nice feel to it. I always played well there.
Yeah.
Looked forward to. I liked Seattle, so I think I always enjoyed that gym.
Yeah, I don't think it's called Heck Ed.
Playing out at UConn was quite the experience too. So
Gimple, yep.
Yeah,
awesome.
Sold out. That was. We were one of the defeated on their very first undefeated season.
Okay, important question, Julian. I don't know. Well, yeah, you went to Cal. Better burritos, Northern California or Southern California?
Northern.
I would say Mi Pueblo, the best burrito. Mm-hmm. Whenever we're up there, like we drive in to get Mi Pueblo burritos.
Mm-hmm.
So I got
the macho, man, and there's like a super macho like that. I think you might die if you eat one of those.
Don't have that.
Yeah, we took the family there this summer, and our son just was like, "This is the best burrito ever." So
I agree. San Anselmo, love Mi Pueblo. Okay, so that's big. That's big news that we're breaking here because these are some OC Southern California folks.
Yeah.
Who know their stuff.
Yeah.
Duffy.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Kerri, your favorite Marin restaurant circa 1991.
Oh, easy. Marin Joe's.
Nothing has changed, by the way. It's the same staff.
I love, but that was always a special. We would go there all the time with my family, with my folks. So.
Same bread and cheese too. It's been sitting around since then.
And piano player.
Yeah. I know. And I love it. The iconic.
Awesome. And last thing is we're all a bunch of, well, at least three of us here are Pac-10 people. Let's just have a moment to say thank you to the Pac-10 for existing.
I know.
That's it.
I'm gonna miss it.
Will it come back? Any chance?
I don't know.
No.
I just got my friends just texted me the Stanford football schedule. Like,
yeah, it's crazy, huh? We got the Cal one too.
Yeah, we're looking at that.
You gonna make the trip out to Syracuse next year?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's crazy. Duffy, do you have anything else for our friends, the husbands here?
Yeah, if you guys go out and play a game of horse right now, the two of you, who wins?
She does.
Yeah. Okay.
I really haven't been petting the rock very much with my back not being the back that it was in the 20s and 30s.
Even when he was at the prime of his game.
That was such an excuse.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a podcast. You can say whatever you want.
How about if you both
awesome.
get out on a short board and have to catch a wave in a minute? Who's got that?
Oh, him.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't do cold very well, so yeah.
Kerri's watching film.
If we go on a tennis court, like I can make her not be happy.
Yeah.
I can make her a little silly, but we don't do that very much either.
I don't
because I like being married.
Smart man.
Smart man.
Yeah.
It's been a smart man.
Yeah. Well, Kerri and Julian, awesome to meet you guys and to have you on. Kerri, thank you for sharing all of your insights. You're obviously you know this well. You're a total legend in Marin. I mention your name a lot when people ask me, all right, who's upcoming on the podcast? And I say, Kerri, husband's Kerri Barrett. I'm like, oh my God, Kerri Barrett, she's a legend. So thank you so much for your time. We'll be rooting for San Clemente High School. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the state championships along with our San Domenico and Archie Williams boys teams. And we'll be excited to see your kids progress in their careers.
Thank
you.
And
Julian, awesome to meet you. Thanks for the insights.
Nice, Dave.
And he's a legend in many other ways. Well, we can get into that another time.
Obviously.
I've been wanting to bring my team up to like a tournament or a showcase or something in Marin. So maybe I'll get with you and figure something out.
Let's make that happen. Marin Catholic has a really good girls tournament every year. I think we'll work on making that happen because it would be awesome to have you bring them up here. So
it'd be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Right.
And Kerri, remember, don't hit any buttons right now.
Leave. I heard that. Yeah.
Don't hit leave.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
See you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Dave, that was fun. Good to reconnect with Julian and Kerri, and nice to meet their dog remotely.
Yes.
His name, Pandemic.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, great interview. What are your takeaways? Hit me with something, Dave.
Thought Kerri and Julian were awesome. Few things I liked. They pointed out the Ron Wheatley discussion that Kerri mentioned. They played fast and disciplined. Thought that was a great combination, something that I think a lot of teams strive for and don't always achieve. So I thought that was great. I also liked her quote when she was talking about being a strength and conditioning coach, that men are happy to win and women need to be happy to win. And I think that's a astute observation. So thought it was really fun to talk to her. And then I'd never met, obviously hadn't met Julian before. He was great. I thought really cool perspective on being a parent. And again, we talked about this before. They have some really talented kids, right? Kylie, super talented, and it sounds like Jameson, their son, is also
really good baseball
player. So
very athletic family.
Yeah.
Julian is one of the louder individuals I've ever known, and projects very well. So the whole idea that he's sitting there in the stands,
quiet,
keeping his mouth totally shut, is just kind of just funny for me to visualize that.
Well, I was laughing, Duff, because when he mentioned that he's the guy who does the huddle videos for their team, and I was thinking about this because we had a situation where one of our family members on our team videoed our San Domenico game, and the opposing coach asked for the video because their video didn't work, and we sent it to her. But I was thinking, oh God, I hope that this parent isn't like saying disparaging things about our opponent because we're sending it to him. So, public service announcement to those of you parents or coaches who are filming, just remember that it's on film.
Right. Or even like if it's the huddle that's set up in the gym, you as a fan, you better be aware of which side it's filming from.
Right.
You don't sit too close to that if you want to, sort of say anything disparaging, especially about the coaching staff of your own team. But yeah, that very good public service. I believe you can edit out the audio.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Good.
Anyway, just a couple updates after this interview, which we did a couple weeks ago, Dave. We touched base with Kerri and Julian, and San Clemente won the league, and they will be starting CIF Southern Section playoffs on Thursday. That was probably yesterday, home game against El Dorado, sorry. And 5 of Kerri's players were named all-league team, including Kylie, who has an offer, we understand, from Cal.
As a freshman.
So amazing.
Legit. Yeah, awesome. Really appreciate Kerri and Julian joining us. That was a great conversation. And it would be awesome if we could find a way to get Kerri to bring her team up to play in Marin, as she mentioned. That'd be really cool.
And just happy for them. She mentioned it in the interview that they have been working up to this moment for quite a long time. Like, she gets to coach her daughter, do something she loves. Her daughter get to see her daughter really take off and become an amazing high school player and likely a college player.
Yeah.
And she's got 3 more years of it. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thank you, Kerri and Julian. And thank you, Dave. As always, David.
Thank you, Dustin.
And thank you, listeners and sponsors. Thank you to The Hub. Thank you to Karen Horsemeyer, Medium, and Nike San Domenico camps, and a couple other sponsors coming back soon, we think. And we just appreciate everyone sticking with us and continuing to listen and support. This has been the Run TMC podcast about basketball in Marin County.
Thanks.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin. Marin County